All right, hey everyone. Hopefully, all you guys can hear me. We got Mark here, all ready to go. So thanks for waiting for a couple minutes there for us. My name is Kai, as you guys may know. You may recognize me from previous webinars and all kinds of stuff. I'm just sitting here in my kitchen in front of my fridge. Yeah, I'm going to be kind of letting Mark take the reins on this one. He's going to be introducing a lot of fun stuff, the 12 fundamentals of animation. We'll talk about that in just a little bit. I'm going to share my screen really quickly here before we move on, and then we'll throw it on to Mark. I'll give him a little bit of an introduction, and then I'll let Mark take over the reins, and I'll kind of fade into the background. Okay, so you should be able to see my screen right now. This is what we're going to be talking about today: creating awesome-looking character animation with the 12 principles by Mark Diaz. He's down in beautiful Mexico. We're going to be talking about, all the stuff here. You've probably already seen the outline, and Mark will give a better introduction than I can right now. So, yeah, Mark is a self-taught animator. He's been in the film industry for over 10 years. He's done a TEDx talk as well. Lots of other cool stuff. Really, really cool guy, and he has a lot of knowledge that you may want to learn about the basics of animation here. We'll let him introduce himself a little bit later on a bit more. But before we move on, I wanted to also mention that he has this website, 2danimation101.com. You can learn a lot of stuff here. There's some training courses, all sorts of stuff you can take a look at here. I'll throw this in the chat window for you guys. So I can just, oops, where's my webinar panel here? Why is it not? Oh, there we go. My webinar panel's having a little bit of a rebellious stage here. So chat window right here. Okay, there we go. Finally got it. 2danimation101.com. And like I mentioned, Mark will talk a lot more about that a little bit later on. I don't want to go into annotate mode here. Yeah, and one other thing too I mentioned as well, we are having a Q&A session as always at the very end of the webinar. We're going to have a Q&A session. So if you have any questions for either Mark or I, put those in the QA section of your Zoom panel there, and we will answer those at the end of Mark's presentation. In addition, we are sending out a survey, as we always do every webinar. Make sure you fill out that survey for us, and I'll get a 10% discount coupon from the content store once you fill that out. And yeah, so that's helpful to us. Any suggestions for future topics you want to learn about are very welcome as well. What else do we need to talk about? Oh, the content store as well. We have the content store as always, the weekly special. Make sure you check out the weekly special here. I'll throw this into the chat window as well. So today, this week, it's the puppet actor creature. These are really cool. If you have the Leap Motion controller or any hand motion capture device like a Rococo or whatever, you can use this puppet actor creature templates. It's only $3 down from $10. Pretty useful little thing. And there's some sample actors. You can see the lion and the fox there. I'll throw this in the chat window for you guys if you ever want to take a look at it. Yes, people are always wondering what I look like, I guess. Here's what I am. I just grew this this mustache here a few weeks ago, so I'm trying something new out. We'll see how it works. It's got positive response so far. Okay, so I think that's enough of me blabbering. Again, if you have any questions later on, just put those in the Q&A section. So we'll hand over the reins to Mark here. Mark, if you want to kind of just I know you're on video. Can't really hear your audio yet, though, so you may want to just release the audio. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So, yeah, take it away, Mark.
Just kidding. I can. Okay. Hello, everyone. How are you, everyone? So, Kai, thanks you so much for the introduction. And so, what we're gonna learn today is I'm gonna be talking about the 12 principles of animation, right? So, Kai, a quick favor, can you stop sharing the screen?
Oh yeah.
It's one of
you should be able to share your screen unless you're not. Have we made you a host yet? You should just be able to take over my screen.
Okay, let's see. Share screen. Uh, let's see. I'm gonna try to. Am I sharing?
Yep, gotcha.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, so for this session, I'm gonna be using some videos and some examples. And before this webinar, we did a little test, and some of the videos I was playing, they were lagging a little bit. So I created this link to make your lives easier. This one. So when I go through each of the examples and illustrations, you're going to be able to follow up at your own rhythm in case the video on my side is lagging. Let me show you. This is the page. I thought I was sharing my screen, right? So I'm going to be going through each of the videos, but in case it's lagging, you can just access that screen, right? I'm going to post it on the chat. Let me go to chat right here. Oops, right there. So you can just click there in case this is lagging. Okay, so let's get it started. So the first thing is what are the 12 principles? Why did they exist? Okay, well, actually, the question is not what are the 12 principles or anything that's too technical. The question is, okay, how can I make my animations look really cool? That's the question we all want to answer, right? Because when your animations don't look that good, people don't really share them, right? I don't did the can somebody check if the link went through? Someone.
I think
Oh,
it may have just gone to
ah,
panelists.
yeah. Sorry, panelists and attendees. Okay,
Yeah.
sorry. There you go. Thank you. Now that should be it. All panelists and all attendees. Okay, there you go. So the thing is, the 12 principles exist because in the 1930s, Walt Disney and his team, they were thinking like, we want to make the animations cooler and to look better, etc. So they started creating like having studies, having more personality, and bit by bit, they started getting this concept of, follow it. This one has like more follow through. So the 12 things that they found were the most mentioned. They became the principles. Now, there are of course 12 principles, and there's actually a free course. If any of you has Cartoon Animator, you should know that maybe maybe you don't know, but you have access to this really cool course. Let me just show you before I keep going. The 12 principles in Cartoon Animator, right? And in here, I we go from basic to advanced. It's a couple of classes, and it's each of the 12 principles applied in Cartoon Animator, and it's free. We were going to be selling it for $97, but instead we partnered up with Revolution, and we're giving it away for free for to any of the Cartoon Animator 4 users. So in this webinar, what I want to do is to talk about the principles that are the most important. The ones that whenever I see animations by beginners, I go like, oh, there's this little thingy. So let's talk about the main ones that I recommend you start focusing on. If you are not familiar with any of this, then this is a great way to start. Okay, first and foremost, it's a principle called slow in and slow out, right? Very simple. In a bit, I'm going to explain them a little bit, and then I'm going to be showing you good examples, examples of good animation and examples of bad animation, so we can visually see how they affect, right? Another one is one called, actually, I would say anticipation comes first. Anticipation. This one is really, really, really important. Anticipation. It's just before you do an attack or an attack. I have my My dog's in here. So before you do any, like if your character is going to be giving a kick or doing anything, it's really natural to have to anticipate any movement, and then you, instead of doing this, it looks more realistic when you add any anticipation to any action, right? So that's anticipation. The other one is what happens after the action, and that is called follow through. We're going to see examples through, right? And overlapping action is the same principle. Overlapping action, right? So these are the most basic, and one that also plays an important role is timing. Okay, now these four principles, there are 12 of these, right? And we cover those in the full course, but these four are what I see are lacking in most beginner animations. Now, the problem with this, when these are not in your animation, your characters usually move really weird. Let me tell you what I mean by that. For example, if if you look at me, I'm a real human being. When I'm expressing, I'm doing my, look at how my hands move, right? And I'm doing expressions. And usually in Cartoon Animator, because you have something like this, I'm gonna open actually a project really quick, and later I'm gonna go back to that. And when I have any character, right, I'm gonna use Philip. That's the one that I use for all my examples. And this guy, when you move him, because he has the bones, etc., usually beginners, if I'm going to have this character point to his head, I do this, right? The hand goes all the way from here to here, right? And actually, I'm just gonna change really quick this. This is what I love about Cartoon Animator, that you can switch things really fast, right? With a couple of shortcuts, right? So if he was to take something on his ear, he does this movement, right? That, if in reality he's doing, his hand is moving from the side, right? Because the bones are like that. In reality, I don't do this. This is what I do is this. The hand moves towards the camera like this, right? If you do it like touch your ear, you do this. You don't go from the side, right? Those are very little subtleties. And when it when Walt Disney and his team was searching how can we make our animations look more realistic, was just analyzing reality. And then actually the 12 principles is just to help you get a character that lives in a physical world. Now, let me show you a quick example of two animations. One of them is going to have really good application of the 12 principles, and another one is going to be the one that you see in most beginners, right? I'm gonna open the project, and if you want to follow along, and for any reason, you can actually, I'm gonna reproduce it from here. One of the animations is has the 12 principles, right? And the other animation doesn't have principles, right? So my question is, can you spot the difference, right? If you see them and you think actually they look the same, then okay, I would probably say you got some problems in your brain. But I think the difference is going to be really obvious. So let's see. Let's check this video really quick. I'm gonna play it and look at this. It's a ballerina doing some steps, and as you can see, one has really cool realistic motions, right? Look at this. Really nice. And the other one is just kind of floating, right? This one, even though They have the same keyframes. I'm gonna actually open the project so you can see. They have the same um, keyframes and the same timing, and still one looks way, way better than the other. So, what's the difference? That's what one of the things we're gonna be analyzing. Look, if I take this and look at the positions, both the positions of both characters, right? Actually, I'm gonna have it like that. And then we go to frame 15, and look, they are in the almost the same position, right? And then frame 40 is the same keyframe. Look at that. And then frame 66 is also the same pose. The difference is what's happening in between all those poses. Look, really nice. This one is just floating. It's not a real being. There's no gravity, there's no floor. And in here, even though there's no floor, we can feel that this character actually has a mass. There's gravity pulling her. Look, she's starting to fall from this step. Gravity starts to pull her, and then she catches herself. Boom. And then she does a little step in there, and then she lifts again. But she's getting, thanks to the anticipation, we know that there's some weight. She has to get energy from somewhere to get in position, right? Just like the real thing. So the question is, how can we get our animations to there? Well, actually, I'm gonna teach you a technique at the end of this webinar where you're going to be able to do stuff like this. I'm not kidding. It's very, very simple. It's like a magic trick. It's like, oh, that looks so cool. How can I do that? But then you see the trick behind it, and you go, oh, why didn't I think about it? And it's actually a technique that they used in the 1930s, actually 1920s, before they started hitting big in the Disney studios. Was really, really super cool. So I'm gonna teach it to you, and you're gonna be able to apply it in Cartoon Animator for at the end. Okay. For now, let's go through some examples of the animations. Right. So let's talk about the slow in and slow out. I'm gonna show you how a character looks when he doesn't have slow in and slow out. Right? This is the movement. It's loading. So this is what in Cartoon Animator is called linear transition. Right? This is beginner animation. Right? Let me try to explain. When I move, if it's, you can do this experiment on your own, like record yourself, upload the video to YouTube, and in YouTube I'm gonna show you later how to go frame by frame, so you can see that when you do this, just this movement, just touch your head, your face, and then when you do that in slow motion, the hand is moving fast and then decelerates, and then starts moving faster and faster. So when you go frame by frame, we actually decelerate. Organically, all organic beings have the have slow in and slow out, right? And robots move like this, right? So when this character is moving, usually all the animations look really stiff. I get student like, how? Why are my animations looking so stiff? And I go, I bet this you're not using slow in and slow out. And then when I said they send me the project, yeah, everything is on linear transition, right? And that is, let me show you really quick how you can fix it really, really easily. I'm gonna start a new project, get my character Philip. While it's loading, I'm going to do a very simple animation of this character just moving his arm, right? I'm gonna pose this really quick, just the arm a little bit more relaxed. And then from here also. And then Very easily, I just go to frame, let's say frame 10, and then he's going to move his hand up, like reaching something. When I just leave it like this, it's going to be actually, let me show all the motion so I can take this, the transform, and actually that was too fast. Let's put it on 30. That is robotic. That is stiff, right? To fix it, it's incredibly simple. You just right click, then transition curve, and then you can select smooth. That's how real human beings move, like this. I'm gonna move the other arm just so you can see the difference between those two movements from there to this. But this other one is going to have linear transition. I don't know if that's possible actually. Let me see the rotation of this arm, right arm, this one. I'm gonna see linear. Yes, look at that. Okay, do you spot the difference? This is robotic. It's moving like zzz. As soon as I start moving the cursor, look frame by frame, this one is picking up speed like real human beings, and then it starts moving faster and faster and then decelerates at the end. Can you see? And this one is super linear. So very easily, all you have to do is pick a transition that is accelerate, decelerate, or smooth. Very, and that applies slow in and slow out, right? And those three in Cartoon Animator are these three. And by the way, maybe this is too small. Let me, just in case, I'm gonna change my resolution to be a little bit smaller. And do let me know in the chat if this is better resolution. Maybe everything is a little bit more visible, right? So picking these three, these ones. If you focus on using that ones, ooh, your animations are gonna just get a little bit more quality. So what I'm going to show you now is, actually I didn't want to stop sharing. Let me share my screen again. Okay, actually another thing, let me set up again my display. Yeah, I want these two together. Yeah, I was having trouble jumping from monitors. There you go. Now it was working perfectly. Let's see this one again, slow in and slow out. That looks robotic. Right? He's like, I'm gonna do it again. Now, what I did was add that little change on the slow in and slow out, and also added a little bit more life to it. Look at this. The timing is going to be a little bit different. Can you feel the difference? This looks a little bit more organic because, let me show you this one. When I do this movement in real life, I don't go like this, right? I do this. I go from the front like, uh, so if I'm just put the camera and then I think, okay, I'm gonna, I lift my arms. I notice that my arms are going towards the camera and then get in position. And as you can see in here, I applied that little subtlety. If we go frame by frame, look at this. Look, he's going through the center. Can you see? Look at that. That looks a little bit more natural. And also, when he goes down, the hands, I'm making them smaller just to give this effect called foreshortening. If any of you has heard the word foreshortening, is just this. This arm right now is the full length. And then as I start rotating this towards the camera, you're gonna notice that the distance, I'm gonna put my fingers to help you notice the distance in the camera. Look at that distance. And then when I get closer to the camera, now the distance is shorter. Can you notice? In the screen, then the distance is foreshortened. So the more I get aligned with the camera, the shorter it gets, right? So that effect in Cartoon Animator is super easy to do. Let me just show you. You just do this. If I wanted to get that kind of movement in Philip right here, I would, let me just first change the hand a little bit. Actually, I just press S. And actually, let me activate this so you can see what I press. When I press K, I switch to the motion key editor. When I press S, I switch to the sprites. So let's pick maybe this fist. All right. So with that fist, if I want to make this arm foreshortened, right now I cannot do that unless I just look with one single click. This is what I love about Cartoon Animator. It makes your life so easy. Boom. That's it. Now I can do that effect of having in this moment right now the arm of this character is not like this, is like this. Very simple. All I did was making the forearm shorter, and now the arm is a little bit towards the camera. Can you notice? Look, let me show you again. Right? And it's giving you that effect really easily. Look. So that is actually one of the things that if you haven't tested, the 3D motion clips now included in the latest version, compatible with the latest version of Cartoon Animator. It's super cool because that's what the motions are actually calculating, the algorithm. Things are getting smaller, right? So let me go back to more examples. That is what I did. Let's go through the comparison again. I'm gonna play this one and let it play, right? That is a little bit stiff. And the other one is the other detail is that the anatomy is wrong. I'm gonna point out the movement of the shoulders, and now this one is correct. Look, it's a little bit more organic, right? This looks a little bit more alive. And one of the reasons is because when you raise your elbow, your arm, the elbow rises. Do this yourself right now. If you're in your computer, probably your family are gonna think that you're going crazy. But do it just to experiment, and the shoulder goes up. And usually, a lot of beginner animations they do this. It even hurts a little bit. Like try to raise your arm without raising your shoulder. It hurts. I'm in so much strain right here, right? But just doing this, hey, I raised my elbows. My elbows, sorry. Yeah, the elbows too, but the shoulders, right? So in here is very subtle, but when you take into account anatomy, this helps. Look, whoops, really nice. This is natural. So a couple of things are okay with this animation. This, I'm gonna want to take, this is natural, and this is BS. We don't do this. Like, right? We raise also our elbows when we do that. Okay, now let's talk about anticipation. For anticipation, all you do is just put a pre-action, right? There's Francis Geblas in his book, he talks about the triple A, which are anticipation, action, and aftermath, right? Anticipation is the one you put before you do any action. So I'm gonna show you right here. Anticipation is when you have a character, any character, when you do any action and the character is fighting gravity, you need energy to do anything. Look at this. She's gonna do a jump, right? Right now, she is gonna be standing and then what? That's not jumping. That feels more like she's being sucked by some UFO, zoop, right? Because how is she jump? That's not a jump. I'm gonna show you a jump. A jump is when you oh, this is a jump. When you have the anticipation, that's a jump. Because she needs to gather energy to do anything, right? To make that jump, you need energy. And if we compare it with this one is just kind of flying away. And this one is an actual jump. Now, let's talk about the anticipation, action, and aftermath, right? This is an example of a simple action of the character Philip just pointing to himself. And that's it. You can leave it like that, right? If you don't mind, like, yeah, yeah, I'm just having some fun. Okay, that's valid, right? But what if you want to really get people to pay attention to your animation, to have people like, oh my God, that was so cool. Have you seen this? And then they share it and maybe your videos go viral. Well, then you want to do add personality, first of all, and do this. This is the triple A I was talking about: anticipation, action, and aftermath. This one only has the action. The character pointing to himself. That's the action, right? Just very two simple keyframes. That's keyframe one, and then that's keyframe two. And then Cartoon Animator automatically does the all the animation in between for you, right? Now, this one has way more personality. Look. Ah, wow. Can you notice the difference? There's a big difference. Look at the anticipation of him before he points to himself. He's like getting some air, right? He goes like up and then he lands like a true champion. And the aftermath, he doesn't just stay there. He is kind of moving and sliding, moving his head, going a little bit up, which in Cartoon Animator, I just love it because you can just press Control K, right? Which is the same as which one is it? I think is the face. No, the face key editor. Which where is it? Let me close it. And yes, it's this one, the face key editor. Control K. And look, I just animated this. This guy moving his head a little bit up, right? So he was like, super cool. And that's the animation I did there. So it's pretty nice to have characters that have personality. Why? When you have a character that has personality and anyone in the world is watching your animation, they're gonna think, oh, that's like my uncle, or that's like my friend Pete, or that's like when you put personality, they recognize either they recognize themselves in their character or they recognize someone they know in the character. And what does that do? It makes your animation more significant to them. Like, I have no idea what this animation has, but I like it. I like it. Right now, let's go to another concept in the follow through, which, by the way, the aftermath is also part of the follow through and overlapping action. I'm not gonna go in detail on this because there's a free course that you have access to and you can just get it. And that the instructions are there just in case you don't know, like, oh yeah, I do want it because I mean, the best price ever, it's free. You can just get here and just, if you don't have Cartoon Animator, you purchase it there. Or I already have Cartoon Animator, and in there you get all the instructions to get access to that course, right? So what you do is, uh, again, this is explained fully in the course, but in this, there's one concept called the moving hold. Only a machine or only like some, I don't know, some creature from another dimension or anything that is not organic, probably maybe a cyborg, they stop moving and then they freeze. That's what happens with a lot of animations in like animations by beginners. They have a character, and then the character stops talking, and it freezes, right? When someone is alive, if you see anyone in an interview, just go to YouTube, look at an interview, I don't know, with whatever interview, and then the interviewer, after he stops and the guest is talking, the interviewer is alive, is and then looks at the camera, and then or at least he's breathing, right? And that is actually pretty cool in Cartoon Animator. There's this feature for the 3D motion cap that you can have your character breathing, right? So all those little things are things that make your animations come alive. So what I'm going to show you now is an example of an animation that doesn't have moving hold and one that does have the moving hold. Moving hold is just this. When the character finishes the action, he keeps moving just a little bit. And in Cartoon Animator, it's so easy because all you do is move the playhead a couple of frames forward, and then just put another keyframe moving slightly off. Let me show you what I mean. First, I'm gonna show you the animation and then how you do it in Cartoon Animator. Look, is the character with personality pointing to himself. And then he freezes. That's what a lot of people do. I don't want you to be like a lot of people. I want you to be unique and extraordinary. So what you can do is, boom, the moving hold. Look how he's moving a little bit to the side. And to do that, in Cartoon Animator, all you do is this. I'm gonna pretend this is the final position, right? But this hand is bothering me, so I'm just gonna change it to the fist. The fist. The way of the fist. So what I'm gonna do here is, actually, there's a keyframe in there for my explanation. Let me remove it. And I'm gonna have all the keyframes. Let's see if this also affects. Yes, nice. And the sprites, I'm just moving a couple of things in here to be moved from here, and also just moving a couple of things. This is the sprite for this hand. Is it? Yes. Okay, I'm gonna just have the switch right there. Okay, so let's pretend this is the final movement, right? He started there. Look how soft it looks with the slow in and slow out. Can you feel it? He's like this. And then at the end, he can froze. He can be frozen there. But all I do is go, for example, frame 110, and then all I do is move him a little bit more. I press K, and then maybe he keeps moving his arms a little bit. I'm gonna activate the constraints just a little bit more. Just look at that. I'm just moving just a little bit more, and then maybe he's move twisting his head a little bit, and then lifting his torso. Everything I did. Can you notice? I just move very, very slightly. And that is going to give me a moving hold. Look at that. Can you feel how he looks alive? Actually, I'm gonna bring this keyframe closer. Maybe that was too long. Can you see how he looks alive after the movement? That's the moving hold. It's like, instead, like he's holding his position, but he's kind of alive while he's holding that position. Okay, so that's what I want you to know about follow through and overlapping action. The last one is timing. Actually, before that, let me just show you. This is a comparison of the two. Look, this one kind of dies right there, or it feels like a picture, right? And this one is alive. That's side by side. Now, for the timing, you're gonna notice that the timing between these two also changed. Timing, I'm gonna explain what timing is really quick. Again, I'm not gonna go in depth because this is explained fully in the course, along with all the other principles, along with exercises for you to apply and internalize each of the principles. But the timing is just the rhythm in which actions happen. In other words, I this is the a, a timing for some action. For example, if I'm doing an animation of a fighting scene and a character does this, the timing would be I'm gonna do the timing with snapping my fingers. Like I'm a musician, so any musician here is gonna go, yeah, I get you, man. So the timing would be das, right? I can do the timing a little bit slower. I can go right. That charges a little bit more, more punch too. It's kind of, oh, this guy is really concentrating, or I can go really fast, right? That's timing. And in Cartoon Animator, the way you move timing is incredibly simple. Look, I can have this character doing that action, right? And right now, the timing is 1 second of difference. Oops, let me let me go back. Alrighty, again. That's the timing. So look at how easy it is to change the timing. If I want it slower, all I do is take that and make it slower. Now, all his movement is going to have a slower timing. Look. Or I can have him be a little bit faster, but I'm going to need these sprites to change also. Where's the other sprite? Ah, both sprites changed. Great. Yes, perfect. I'm gonna move this to here. Okay. That look at how the timing. Wow, now it's really fast. Hey! Or I can go a little bit more relaxed. So look at that. I can change the timing of my actions by just moving some keyframes, right? Now, where does timing come into play? When you're doing musicals, when you're doing lullabies or jingles or anything, and you want to have the characters dancing, like I do in some of our trailers that we have some characters dancing, we just use the timing and we go with the timing of the song, right? I have some students who do animations for kids and then like very friendly characters. They have the timing of the song. If they go a little bit faster, it's not gonna be very harmonious, right? So now that we have these four, let's do an analysis of the ballerina, right? We still have a little bit of time. Yay, I'm on time. I'm gonna show you, I'm gonna open this project and it's going to ask me very conveniently, hey Mark, you haven't saved. I'm not sharing my screen, right? You haven't saved? I love this. No, I'm not gonna save it. So for the ballerina, this character is actually, let me just go. There's one more animation at the very end right here. I'm gonna mention this at the very end. Okay, it's just another quick tip. But before that, I'm gonna give you actually the technique that you can start applying today. And actually, I'm looking forward for any of you guys to take what you learn here, do an animation, and then send that to us, right? You can send it to support at 2D Animation 101. Support at 2D Animation 101.com, right? Like a little challenge. And I'm just curious to see what you can do with it. Okay, so for now I'm going to hide this reference. I mean, this is not the reference. This is the other animation. And I'm gonna show you how this came to be. Okay, so we have this character, and there's a lot of things going on at the same time. One is look how realistic this looks. When I go frame by frame, like how she's doing a little bit of follow through, which strictly follow through is when some movement. I'm gonna take my drawing lab. When you move something, you can see that this part, the for because of the weight and because it's very light, is being dragged. So if we go frame by frame on this, it's going like this. Yep. And then I stop and this is the overlapping action, right? So it's follow through and overlapping action. It's this is the effect, right? Very simple. And in here, in ballet, the ballerinas do some things that look almost magical. I love it. They do stuff like, and she right. I could have just have the girl do this, all right, and it would have looked so stiff. But thanks to this, she's looking very elegant, like the arm. So how do I know where to put all of those details? Well, I'm gonna teach you. And then she starts falling, and then ah, she lands, and then look at how elegant her arm starts to go down. Again, isn't she's not straightening her arms like very robotically. No, she's like ah, doing kind of this, right? And that looks very human. There's gravity, there's elegance, there's all these elements. Let's go. And then again, she does this movement beautifully, right? How did I do this? But most importantly, how can you do this? Ha 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 ha. Okay, I'm going to share the secret with you. It's very simple. It's this is the magic trick right here. All I did is do exactly what Walt Disney did in the 1930s, and that was to bring one of the things that they were animating a lot was a lot of animals. All the old animations, if you look at them, like Walt Disney old animations, all of them were mostly about animals in a farm, etc. So what they would have is bring an expert, a teacher, a biology teacher or anatomy teacher, and they would teach them all the movements of the actual animals, and they would see footage of a lion frame by frame played. But in that time it was so expensive to do, to play something frame by frame, like look at this and then the next slide and then the next slide. And all they would do is draw each of the frames they were looking like, okay, 2 minutes, draw it. You have all the, okay, next frame, draw it. And that's how they became so good at drawing really realistic movements, right? So let me just get the clip. And actually, you know what? Let me look for the clip really quick. And let me see if I saved it. I'm not sharing my screen. I'm about to share it. Let's see. Is ballerina. Let me see. Da, da, da. Okay, no. Ballet. Was it this one? I think this, yes, this is it. Okay, I'm gonna put it on the exact frame just to give you, you're gonna see, oh, Mark, you didn't do it. You're not telling me. Yes, I'm telling you. I'm getting ready. Getting everything in position. Drum roll, please. Okay, wait. I'm almost there. Patience, breathe. If you're very impatient, I'm so sorry. You just have to bear with us. Okay, there it is. I am ready now to share my screen. And what I did is this. I'm going to take this character and actually I'm going to flip it, right? And look at this. I have the character in that position. And if I go to the reference, what's that? Ah, all I did was have this character and this have the same positions. Look, all I did was move frame by frame in Cartoon Animator. I don't know if you know this trick. I in Cartoon Animator in YouTube. You can press comma and the period, those two keys, and then you go frame by frame going forward or backwards, right? But first you have to pause and then you press those two. Not at the same time. This is to go forward, this is to go backwards, right? So in any case, I'm showing you here the keys that I'm pressing down here. Look, 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I go to Cartoon Animator. One, oops, it's 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that, right? And actually, I'm gonna create a new document and not save it. I'm gonna use the actual character that I used to create this animation. And his actor is one of the campus heroes. And it was this one, Ruby. It's loading. That's the one that I used actually. And the animation, this is something that I really, really like. You can just have the your own motions. This is super cool. Look, motion, ballerina. Just double click and I have everything I need. Boom. So look at this. This is the position. And of course, I changed a couple of things. I changed the hand, right? Because this exact hand was not there. And this is 4 frames forward. 1, 2, 3, 4. Look at that. Can you see? And then let's go 1, 2, 3, 4. And I see the positions. Look at all that beauty. 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? Look. I'm imitating that pose. And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's why my timing is so perfect. 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I notice that the leg starts descending. Look, let me go back. 1, 2, 3, 4. She kind of gets to the top. 1, 2, 3, 4. The leg starts descending. The same in here. 2, 3, 4. Can you see? It goes up and then 1, 2, 3. I think that's where it stops. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's falling. That's why my character has this gravity effect because I copied it from a real source. 1, 2, 3, 4, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's falling, but she catches herself with that foot. 1, 2, 3, 4. So this is the secret, and you can do it. And I'm gonna tell you something. This is so much fun that I almost enjoyed it as if I was playing a video game. I'm not kidding. You have to try this. Like, get a 2 second clip and then copy every single pose, like every 4 frames. Sometimes I would add a couple more, right? Let's see. Yeah, that's that pose. But yeah, that's all I did. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. She's and the hands and everything. I'm putting it according almost to what the position of the hands. And again, the hand in here is not exactly the same, but it works, right? And then 1, 2, 3, 4. Oops, I have to click here. 4. Yes, 1, 2, 3, 4. Let me move the camera a little bit. Then 1, 2, 3. Ah, no. Sorry. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Again. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then all the way to the end. I'm going to skip to when she stops. Now, in this clip, she finishes her position. I don't know all the technicism in ballet, but after that, she, of course, she keeps dancing. Now, I'm going to go back and show you how this clip has the exact same timing. Look, let me just go a couple of frames backward. Back. Like from here. I'm going to play it. Really nice. And the same happens in here. The timing, the rhythm, the flow, everything is so nice. All of you can do this. And it's so fun. when I sit down to do this, I'm really picky and I was paying so much attention to all the little details. And of course, it's not as easy as I showed here. One of the things is that I know how to draw, so I can distinguish angles. And when you try to do and you don't know how to draw, you're probably going to struggle a little bit with the angles. But I can assure you, whatever the result, you're going to have a lot of fun. We actually had some students from the 12 principles of animation try this exercise, and I'm gonna show you one of them. His name is Ben, and when you join the free course of the 12 principles, we are having weekly calls where you can ask anything live, and me and Saro, who is in my team, I believe he's here, among the audience, among you guys. He's among us. He also helps with answering questions or having even sometimes one-on-one sessions with our students. So if you need help, you can join us there and join us on Fridays, right? So, and all the details are in the free course. I'm gonna show you the animation done by Ben, and I thought it was pretty funny. Look, he took so this was difficult, and of course the timing and some things are maybe a little bit off, but I really like it. Look, like, yeah, and the positions, everything, it's a little bit changed because this character, the limbs and everything is a little bit shorter, and she's a tall human. And I like how they are looking at each other, and he went through so much work to delete the character that was here, I don't know which one, if Ruby or Gene Kelly. So really interesting. And so all of you can do this, and it's pretty fun. When I did the exercise for the ballerina, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna spend like 20 minutes and I'm gonna do this. Now, if anyone here knows me, you know that I'm terrible at, like, when I start working, I disappear. So I have alarms to eat because if I don't put alarms, I don't eat. And so my eating time, the it was like in half an hour, I believe, or 1 hour. And then, yeah, in half an hour, I'm going to finish this animation. And then I was in the middle of it. And then my alarm goes off. What? 1 hour passed already? Let it wait. So in total, I thought I was going to, it felt, let me tell you, I think you're familiar, most of you are going to be familiar with this sensation of you feel like you spent 20 minutes playing a video game, and then you look at at the window. You started at night, and then, oh my god, it's day, I've been playing all night. I don't know if that has happened to me. So the same thing happened here. I was having so much fun. In total, I know that I spent 2 hours, but it doesn't feel, you don't feel those 2 hours. It feels like 20 minutes because it's so much fun, really. So that's it. Now I'm going to finish off with the, later we're gonna go to answering questions. I'm gonna show you the last thing, which is a very, very common mistake that I see, is that because of the motion clips, a lot of people have the characters walk and slide like this. This is a mistake. Look, right? That is a floating character moving his legs and floating somewhere, right? That's not a character walking. That's a character floating, moving her feet, right? This is a character walking. Look at the difference. Can you see? That's not sliding. That's a character interacting with the floor. That's real. There's gravity. There's uh, like resistance from the ground. And in here, there's nothing. There's just two floating things. I'm gonna compare this again. Look at the big difference, and then look at this. So the way to fix that, I was actually answering one email about this, is like this. I'm not gonna save it. I have a character. Let me bring any. Actually, let's bring that same Ruby in the side. while it's loading, what I'm gonna do is just add a couple of walking animation clips and then show you how you can fix that really, really easily. From animation, I'm going to change, it's going to be, oh, in template. Then let's go to G3, female, and then side, and then let's go to walk. Walk start, and then loop. I'm gonna put 2 loops, or actually 1, and then end. Okay, that's what I have, right? I'm gonna have the animation end on 105. Okay, then if I loop it, I have the character, but it's not moving from one side to the other. So what I'm gonna do is I open the timeline with the character selected. I click on transform, and now I'm going to move her to have her move from, she starts moving like from, I'm gonna say from here. I just double click, I added a keyframe there, and she's gonna move to, let's say, where she stops. This is the last step, probably around there. So all I do is move her to here. This is what most beginners do. They put very little distance. Let's see. Now she's sliding. So how do you fix that slide? The way to fix it is go to the last frame and just put more distance. And you just play with it until you get it. Look, that's working a little bit better. Let me move her a little bit more. That's that's better, right? And then I think, for example, in here it does feel like the foot is staying there, right? And then at the end, she look at how this foot slides. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna have her step in there, but then I'm gonna add a keyframe, just double click, and then this last, she's going to move a little bit like this. Look at what I'm doing. I moved her, but I was focusing on this foot. So it feels like the foot is staying there. Can you notice? Look, very subtle, but now she feels like she's interacting. Maybe one foot is sliding a little bit, but it's a much better improvement than having the character just sliding, right? Alan, one of our students, made a joke of having the animation of a character uh, on purpose sliding, and then, hey, who puts a little balloon with, hey, who put all this polish in the floor, huh? So it was pretty cool. So really quick, in general, the 12 principles help you create animations that look organic. By organic, we mean that they look as a real being in a real world. I mean, in a world that exists. Maybe it's not this world, but it's some world. It's a magical world. There's different things, but at least have the characters be driven by the laws of physics, like gravity, friction, etc. Okay, so now we're going to go to the Q&A.
All right, I'll come back on here. Thanks for that, Mark. That was awesome. Really helpful. A lot of useful tips there. I think everyone learned a lot from that. And I highly encourage everyone to check out the 12 animation tips, or 12 fundamentals of animation, principles of animation there. It's a really, really useful course. If you want to, add some additional polish to your animations, even for the basic stuff, it's quite essential to check that out. So I highly recommend it. And I'm going to throw a link into the chat window as well for the page for that course, the Reillusion page. I just realized we don't have it there yet. So I'm going to throw this into the chat window for you guys. And I wanted to ask you, Mark, you talked about acting out all the animations that you put onto the screen. Did you ever try to act out that ballerina animation in your studio? Were you dancing around it all? Or?
Actually, at some points, I do move my, like, do I do that? And then I see, for example, I would like, does the elbow go up? And then I would look at the reference, and then I would see her, and then she wouldn't lift her her shoulders, and I thought, oh, that's on purpose. Oh my god, it's so straining. Like, but it was part of the elegance. Like the neck had to. So I did that physically to just feel it, and then yeah. But no, the nah, that's too complicated for me.
Yeah, it's kind of funny because when back in the day when we used to all be in the office and stuff, I used to kind of when I was doing animations, I'd just unconsciously be doing some weird like moves and stuff like that, and
Yeah.
people all over the office would be giving me weird looks and stuff. So I know what it's like.
Yes, yeah, it's the any animator needs to do real weird stuff. Like there's these two animators that are helping in our school. They work in they work on Naruto, One Punch Man, and when
Hmm.
they do animations, when Chris, he's the one who animated in Fate Grand Order and also One Punch Man. He goes like, wait, and then he stands up in the middle of the session and he will like and he even do some noises to yeah, sorry, I gotta do it. And we all like, yeah, we get it, man, we do the same.
Well, they always say like dance like no one's watching, right? I guess you can say you
Yeah,
can animate like no one's watching either.
exactly.
All
So it's
right.
very interesting.
Let's get into the Q&A, guys. So if you have any questions, of course, put those in the Q&A panel there. I did forget to mention as well, this is being recorded. So if you missed anything, you want to review it on your own time, we're going to send out a link later on that you can check that out and review. And it is broadcasting on YouTube as well. If you are watching from YouTube, just be aware that we don't take the questions from YouTube. We'll only be taking them from the Zoom webinar here. So unfortunately. All right. All right, Q&A. Here we go. First question from Marin Eberly. Can you upload your own characters in Cartoon Animator for trial? Yeah, Cartoon Animator, the trial version is fully functional for 30 days. So you should be able to do anything. You can totally customize your characters in the trial version for up to 30 days. After 30 days, you can try a different computer maybe or something like that. if you have a few computers. Okay, I'll go to the next one here. Anonymous attendee. Ooh. I really enjoy your webinar. I think I purchased your class last year, but I never got around to viewing it. Had a lot on my plate. Is what you're advertising the same class as last year? I think it's the same one, right? We've only done the one course
I
with you.
think the one you probably purchased, anonymous attendee, is probably the Learn Animation in Cartoon Animator. That's a separate one. This one is a new one that we did like a couple of months, almost half a year ago, and it's free for anyone who has Cartoon Animator. The other one is purchased. It's where I go into detail to using Cartoon Animator, and this one is focused. This one is focused on how to use the tool, and the 12 principles is how to use those tools to make your animations look good. Applying it, we have exercises and everything.
Right. So this one is the kind of the newer one, the newer kind of refined, but just a little
Exactly.
bit
Yeah.
more basic. Okay. Gotcha. Hopefully that answers your question there, mysterious anonymous
Anonymous attendee.
attendee. Question from Vivek Tyagi here says, what about squash and stretch? Do you want to take that
Yeah.
one, Mark? Talk a little
For
about that?
for squash and stretch, again, these are the main ones that I see that when you don't apply them, your animation goes down. Squash and stretch, that is explained in the free course in the 12 principles. So you can check it out. There are very different techniques, really interesting techniques that you can use with squash and stretch where you don't have to do much animation. Everything looks so animated just with that little effect. That we do have some exercises. So Vivek, yeah, it's not covered here, it's covered in the free course. You should have access to it.
Yeah, squash and stretch is really an essential part of animation as well. A lot for objects as well,
Mm,
like a bouncing ball, for example. That's the basic one they always teach you is how to create that
yeah.
bouncing ball with the squash and stretch, just so it doesn't look so what's the word?
Like it doesn't look like super stiff or something. It
Stiff.
looks more flowy. That's the word.
Yeah, afterwards, just had a very relaxing afternoon, so my brain's not fully functional, I think. So. Okay, question answered from Vic. Okay, got it. Next question here is from Joe. Thank you, Mark. Your presentation and courses are always brilliantly simplified and understandable. Oh, she's just complimenting you.
Thank you,
So don't let your
Jocelyn.
head let your head get too big there. Don't
Sorry.
exaggerate the size of your
Oh,
head.
it's too late. It's so big. No, no. Thank you, Jocelyn. I remember you, Jocelyn. Hello.
All right, we got another anonymous person here. Is there a way to import video or PNG frames into CTA for reference or rotoscoping? Yeah, there is. Have you ever done that, Mark?
I haven't done it. To be honest, for me, it's I just prefer to go to YouTube. It's kind of easier, but definitely you can have the footage side by side. I
Mhm.
actually I didn't know how to import an MP4 into Cartoon Animator, but thanks to the group sessions, actually one of our students taught us. I think it was Alan, and he was like, "Oh yeah, you just download this little plugin, and now it runs." And I go, "Whoa, nice." So definitely, yeah, there's a way. And actually, it was not a PNG; it was an MP4.
Yeah, so
But
the way I would do that is probably just import in a video file as a prop, and it would just play as an MP4
exactly.
in your scene. PNG frames would be a bit more difficult, but of course, with a image sequence, you can always just convert that to a video in any
Mm.
sort of video editing software there. So hopefully that answers that question. Next one here is from Vikar Amjad. Sorry if I butchered the name there. Does the Cartoon Animator provide cinematic TV series and video game level of work? Generally, my first impression of the software is to create animation for the e-learning, infographics, and advertisements. Right now, I can answer that one. Right now, we're kind of in. We started off like we're only in version 4 right now, and we've added a lot of really cool stuff, particularly in the motion capture area. In terms of cinematic TV series and professional stuff, we do actually have people working with Cartoon Animator and AAA studios right now. Um, I can't recall exactly right now where there's a bunch of showcases on our website. You want to check out our blog. But there's a bunch of showcases. You can find them by, I don't want to just kind of browse around our site when I don't really know exactly where to go. But there are a lot of showcases on our site from AAA studios using Cartoon Animator 4, and it's improving all
Yeah,
the time.
I can share my screen really quick.
Sure.
Here, in here, actually, you can see a couple of them that are really, really good to even TV industry standard, right? So
Oh, this is
you just
the main
yeah,
page. Yeah.
you just go to the main page of Cartoon Animator, and down there you can see some of the show reels, and they're pretty cool, by Gary Pye, for example. So yeah,
Yeah. Good old Gary Pye down there in Australia, in the down under.
down under.
Um, yeah, tons of stuff. I mean, there's showcases all over the place. We also have like yearly competitions. We have. I recommend checking that out. Um, we'll probably have one. We'll definitely have one this year, later this year. So if you're looking to get some, PlayStation 5 or some free cash or something like that, um, check out the website regularly for updates on any sort of competitions that we're hosting. We do normally one for Cartoon Animator 4, one for iClone each year. So whatever your animation tool of choice, make sure you check back on those. Let's go to next one from another anonymous. A lot of anonymous people today. Um, Doing frame by frame rotoscoping motion capture can result in animation which looks too messy. Do you have any suggestions on simplifying a real world motion to appear, for lack of a better word, cleaner in 2D?
Yeah.
So no one over to
Okay.
you.
So what you mean by messy is probably at some point you start losing control of so many keyframes, and it goes like and then what, like for example, this is things that happen to me. Like the hand is moving, and what's that? And then one frame is, God, what's happening?
Mhm.
So the way I recommend to approach this is don't add too many frames. And if you want to go as detailed as I went with the ballerina, go every 4 frames, right? Sometimes I would put some frames in between, right? So sometimes it was like I would put a keyframe there and then nothing, 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 another keyframe. And then sometimes I would go back and put something in the middle, right? But
Mhm.
usually it's to keep it as clean as possible, just have the least amount of keyframes as possible. And the other cool thing I can show you really quick, the other cool thing in Cartoon Animator is that you can locate parts of the animation in the timeline very, very easily. If I go, actually, this is a motion clip. I'm going to start. I'm going to remove all the animation. Let me remove object animation. She's just frozen there. And then if I move this, for example, I'm gonna create a mistake, right? Let's say that she has her hand in here, and then she's gonna drop her hand on frame 20, like this. But let's say this is stuff that sometimes can happen, okay? And by the way, I don't like the the linear transition, so I'm just gonna go in, right click, curve, then smooth. Ah, really smooth. Look at that. Okay, so sometimes something diabolical happens in the middle. So I'm just gonna create this little mistake, right? Like maybe like this and then
Whoops.
like this. So for some reason, the world or fate or the computer goes berserk on you and then, right? Those kinds of things. I don't know if that's what you mean with messy, but that happens to me. Like I was moving something here, and then, what happened there? So if I close this, right, and then I take this character, and then I want to find the part that is moving weird. All I do is, okay, that's the weird part. If I just click, it's going to open in the timeline. Is going to open. Look, the left hand keyframe. If I take that, just those from that bone and delete them, that should fix the problem. Look, can you see? And also I see, oh, maybe the something of the neck. What's that? Then is there something else? I'm going to click now the forearm. Oh, look, the forearm also have 3 frames. I'm gonna delete it. Let me play it again. There's still some glitch in there. I can click on the arm and then I just find it. There you go. So just by clicking, you can find the, I'm gonna quote unquote garbage keyframes, delete them, and then it's clean again. So I would say just put, to play it safe, every 4 frames to do this kind of exercise, and then if weird stuff starts going on, just go all Sherlock Holmes on this guy. Go select the bone and then okay, that kind of fixes it, but there's still, okay, go from that bone to the forearm, or if it's the leg, it can be the leg, the what is it, the calf,
Calf,
no,
yeah.
and then the foot, right?
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So you just by selecting it, Cartoon Animator automatically shows you, like, you want to deal with the, here are the responsible keyframes. So Cartoon Animator is there to help you work faster. Just click and then the timeline shows you those keyframes or of that particular bone. Make sense?
Yeah, for sure. And if you, I would want to add there is if you're a truly amateur animator like myself and lazy as well, um, four key every four frames, I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm like more every 10 frames or 15 or something like that. I try to use motion clips as much as possible, just do these little edits but I'm super lazy animator, so when
Awesome.
I'm animating, I'm like, oh, I need some food. I don't need the alarm for the food. I just eat too much food because I'm
So
like,
your
oh,
stomach is the alarm.
yeah,
Oh, sorry,
exactly.
I have to feed. Okay.
All right, let's go to the next one here from Jonathan. I saw that Mark was controlling the timing of the gestures with transform keyframes.
Mm.
I've always thought that you needed to use the individual bone motion keyframes to edit timing. Can you show us how transform keyframes can control motion keyframes like that?
Yes. And actually, what happens is that you can edit each keyframe individually, right? Right now is selecting the forearm, which is this. The problem is that if I move the forearm later, the forearm is going to be animated slowly, right? So something that I do is I always go to the top, and then hide everything, hide. I just double click on motion. Sorry, I just hide everything and then click on motion, and that shows me, as you can see, it shows motion and then transform. I'm going to make this bigger just so you can really see what's going on. I'm gonna select this frame, I mean this bone, and then this other one. Okay, so now you can see that in the timeline, there's like this one that is the boss of your character, of all the animation and motion of all the bones are right there. All the keyframes are right there. So if I move this keyframe to the side, all the keyframes below are going to move along with it as if it was grouped. Look, I can move the torso alone, but that can mess up my animation. And as you can see, Cartoon Animator automatically created a kind of, I can call it like a group keyframe, but it's actually just, hey, there's a transformation in here. Okay, right there. So what I do instead is I take the master keyframe, this one, motion, transform, and then that one, look, moves everything below it. So because I'm doing position of all the bones, I need to do this. I'm gonna show you again. I just hide all the tabs. Just make sure everything is hidden because look, if you click, it shows only that, right? As I am clicking. So all I do is show motion and hide it. Then I show it again. There it is. Now I can see the motion, right? So this is the one that you want to be editing. Make sense?
Yeah, I think that about covers it. Yeah, it's important to know that there's that main transform keyframe that kind of edits all the others
Mm-hmm.
as well, for sure, because it's very useful. You don't want to do them one by one. Saves a lot of time. So Jonathan was mentioning here. Oh, he's just mentioning as well that we can, what I mentioned earlier, we can use the MOV or MP4 and bring it straight into Cartoon Animator as the reference layer for the rotoscoping if you want to do that.
Oh, that's super cool.
So H. Bagdasarian here asks, when animating to a video, is there a way to overlay the video or do you just eyeball it? So yeah, you can overlay the video. I'm pretty sure you can adjust the transparency of that video too if you wanted to put it over top of your character for some reason, but I don't really know why you'd want to do that. But yeah, import in as a video prop, like I mentioned, that's probably the easiest way. That's what I would do. Or image layer if you want it to be, if you want to mess around with the camera movement or anything like that. There's different ways to import videos. Let's go to Vicar again here. Can we import custom-made characters and in what format? AI or EPS? Can we import Photoshop backgrounds? Right now you can import Photoshop files, PSD files, as backgrounds. We have, in terms of characters, custom characters, we have, I mean, you can import in your own custom characters. However, the caveat there is that you won't be able to use a lot of the animation tools. If you import in your custom character, you're gonna have to do the custom frame by frame animation that Mark was showing earlier. You won't be able to use any of the motion library because the motion library that we have is created for specific characters with specific bone rigs. And those are called G3 characters. If you want to import in your own characters, you can animate them and import them in, no problem. You can even create custom bones and everything like that. But the whole motion library that we have is based around our default G3 characters or G2 characters. They're all compatible with the same stuff. Hopefully that answers that question for you, Vicar. PSD format is what we're working with right now. We used to work with Flash files in Cartoon Animator, or it was back then it was Crazy Talk Animator 3, but we've since moved on from that to different systems. So you'll notice the G2 characters, they're called, are a little bit different than the other ones. So hopefully that answers your question, Vicar. If not, then just feel free to put in a follow-up question there. This question is for Mark. from Howard Vouse. With the ballerina animation, did you use any transition, or was it all linear?
I did use a lot of transitions. Actually, let me show you. I'm gonna open the project right here of the animation, and then ballerina. Let me see if this is it. I'm opening. Wait. Is I can provide you that file for all of you so you can check it out. I'm gonna put it on the link. Let me see if this is the one. And motion. Yes, this is the one. It's not fully complete. It's all the animation from here to here. A lot of them were linear. Look, I'm gonna right click transition curve. This one is accelerate. Actually, I think I always go accelerate and decelerate. This one is linear, for example, the first movement. But from there to here is linear too, okay? And then from here to, let me just try to be as specific as possible. From these are linear. And then I go accelerate to this one. Look, I click right there is accelerate, and then it's linear, and then linear, and then linear. A lot of the times it was linear unless I felt like after some movement I felt like the character has to finish the movement. What I do is when I start a movement, I put accelerate and then linear, doing a couple of movements. And then when she finishes, I do decelerate, right?
Mhm.
Hopefully that answers your question. And usually it was when she goes up and then down, and then up and then down. And I can provide this. Let me just, I'm not gonna do it. Let me put a reminder for myself. Uh, download, downloadable um, ballerina. Okay, ballerina. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna add it in our page right here. When you go to this one, I'm gonna put it at the top, right? So you can just go if you access this page, right? You can go there and then just copy it and put it there. Okay.
Yeah, and
Hopefully
for
that
those of you,
answers your question.
yeah, that page should link should be in the chat window if you guys want to find it. We've already put it
I'm
there, I
gonna
think. So
put it again just for your convenience. There it is.
cool. Thank you, sir. We got a question from Taz Yamo. What's the best way to get mastery of the timeline and applying keyframes and implementing loops? It's a pretty broad question. You want
The best way to get mastery, okay, and then you're going a little bit specific of the timeline and applying keyframes. I would ask you, okay, what's the best way to get mastery in the bicycle? Or what's the best way to get mastery in martial arts? Practice. What's the best way to get to Broadway? Practice. So here's the thing. I love this topic.
I
What
think that
happens?
I remember learning somewhere, hearing somewhere that to be considered a master at something, you have to put in like 11,000 hours of
Yeah,
work to be considered a master at something.
the 10,000 hour rule, right?
Yeah, is your
That
reference
is
there?
that's for complete mastery. This
Yeah.
is uh, by the psychologist. What was Erickson, right? So this this is if you want to be a genius, but actually you need to invest at least 20 hours. There's a TED talk actually. Your first 20 hours, and just invest 20 hours on anything and you're gonna get familiar with it. In anything, when you are learning whatever it is, in this case the timeline and applying keyframes, etc., at first of course it's gonna feel difficult. It's gonna feel weird because it's the first time you're doing it. But after 20 hours you should get enough familiarity to say, yeah, you know what, I like this stuff. Or you can say, nah, it's not for me,
Yeah.
right?
And there's also a difference between mastering Cartoon Animator 4 and mastering something
Yeah.
like 3ds Max or Maya as well.
The learning curve here is actually really fast. But
Yeah.
yeah, there's a TED talk. Let me just find it really quick. You can search it like this. I'm gonna the first 20 hours TED talk. If you just look at it like that, this is the guy, Josh Kaufman. He has a book, really cool book, and he shows you in this TED talk how he just spent 20 hours and he learned to play the guitar, he learned coding, he learned tons of stuff. So, really, that's answering your question very specifically. Invest 20 hours playing around with the timeline and the keyframes.
Okay, so I got a question here from Cedric then. What about facial animation like talking heads? That's a kind of a whole new can of worms to open, Cedric. If you want more specific details about that, maybe just ask a follow-up question, because there's a lot of stuff involved with facial animation. There's facial motion capture, there's keyframes, there's facial puppet, which is a unique tool for Cartoon Animator 4. So if you have any more specific kind of question there, we can talk more about that. But it's kind of because I want to try and get as many questions as I can in here. We have about a little bit of time left here. So I'll skip that one. I'll move on to the next one here. It's from Mariah. How would you handle the skeleton for a blobby creature? I've never been able to figure it out quite right. So if you want to,
Yeah.
if you want to reinterpret the thing, like, or something
Yeah.
like that, and
Yes.
that's custom bone structure.
Yes, definitely it would be custom bone. And I think your question is like handle the animation of making it look wobbly, right? Like so I would have you do what Walt Disney had his animators do when they needed to draw like the leaves of a tree when it's on the wind. Like, how can we do this, Mr. Walt Disney? Okay, get a very expensive camera, go out, record some of that stuff, and then animate it frame by frame, like I just do with the ballerina. Those are called motion studies. So what you do, just take a jello, right, rule, and do this, or even faster, go to YouTube and then what is blobbly creature, or I don't know if you're looking for like the kind of there's this movie Monsters versus Aliens. Maybe you're talking about that character that Seth Rogen did the voice for. Let me just find it really quick. Uh,
I just wanted to mention here, Mariah, I did a webinar where I actually created a blob character and a
ah,
custom bone structure. I put that link in the chat window for you there as well.
awesome.
Um,
Yeah. Okay.
yeah, it's just a really
Perfect.
simple one. It should give you the basics though, and you can actually use certain blobs. You can use some of the embedded motion libraries for them as well. If we do have the custom bone rigs that are available
Oh, cool.
in the actor tab. You can apply a bunch of custom stuff to that as well. Did you want to mention anything there, Mark? Or?
Just for anything in this case, okay, there's an answer. And if there's like, how do I animate a giant? How do I animate whatever you want to animate? Copy it from real life. How do I animate like a cape doing this? Right, like a hero and then the cape doing this. Just have like a, I don't know, like a flag or something doing that, and you frame by frame copy the positions of the thing a couple of times, like do 10 studies. 10 studies is do 10 animations of 2 seconds, right? So yeah, for anything, that's how you do it.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's a whole new webinar topic to go into there, Mariah. Unfortunately, we don't have the time for that, to create a creature and animate it using custom animations and stuff. But of course, if you guys want to learn more about that, feel free to put that in the feedback form. We'd be happy to teach you more about custom characters and animating them and stuff. Maybe even bring Mark to animate the thing or a blob of some kind. What's that old movie where the thing is like, it's like a green blob that you know what I'm thinking about?
I I remember one of
Attacks people in a theater. It's like from the 1970s or
Ah,
something.
no, I
Maybe
haven't
somebody
watched that
else
one.
knows. I just remember The Thing from like the 80s, which was a really scary movie. They're in Antarctica, and
I
that thing like just
I was
morphs
I
to
was
different
thinking
whatever.
of this guy. Let me share my screen really quick. This guy moves like
Oh,
really
Monsters versus
bubbly.
Aliens. Yeah.
This guy, "Wah!" I would take that some clips from there as a reference to understand the movements and the
Oh, someone
bubbliness.
mentioned it's called The Blob with Steve McQueen. So it is called The Blob. Yeah. I knew it was The Blob. Just couldn't place it. Thanks, guys. Um, okay. Question here from Pablo. Let's move on here. Are the owners of CTA 3 eligible for the 12 Principles course? It's only available, unfortunately, for CTA 4 users right now. So just be aware of that. It's recommended you upgrade anyways because there's a lot of really cool new features of CTA 4. It's not going to break the bank for the most part there, but yeah, unfortunately, the principles right now I think it's only available for Cartoon Animator 4. It's kind of a promotional deal if you buy that. So unfortunately, thanks for the question there though, Pablo. Let's move on to Terry. Um, Same question. Yeah. I mean, Cartoon Animator 3 has a lot of the same features. It does have the ease in or all the transition curves, I do believe.
Yeah, yeah,
It's been a long time since I've Cartoon
yeah.
Animator 4 has been out for a while. So
And applying the principles, yes, and learning them, like you can actually purchase that course at full price at in my site, but it's $100. It's better if you just upgrade to Cartoon Animator 4 and you get it
yeah,
for free. You get 2 years.
relatively the same price almost. Yeah, of course, all the principles can be used in any animation software in general. So okay, this is a question from someone else. Someone mentioned the audio came back on, went off for a second. Okay, so Eduardo is talking about do you have tutorials on how to make two characters interact with each other? I'm not sure any of your courses, do you have two characters interact with each other at all?
Not in the courses we have right now, but we do have we're working actually on a course that is about putting together whole scenes and a whole animation and having characters like, yeah. So right now we don't have it. We're working on a course for it.
Yeah, I know we've done that in the past in previous webinars that I've done, having two characters interact with each other. I can't really remember exactly which ones. A lot of them have characters interacting with each other. Some of these may have been from a while ago, but I don't want to go back into the vaults of the old webinar and just look around while you guys are waiting for me here. So check out the webinar archive. There's a tab for webinar archive. You can check out all the old ones, and it'll be in the topics there, like conversation or something like that. But I think that's actually a really interesting possible topic for future webinars. We've done stuff like that for iClone a
Mm.
bunch of times, setting up a full scene and having characters interact with each other. It's a very common thing, and even having people dance together. Having people like hold hands and dance,
Mm.
interacting with objects as well, like a bicycle, is a very popular learning topic. So if you guys want to learn more about that kind of stuff, feel free. Let us know in the comments. Okay, so Cheryl asks here, can you say again how to get a video into Cartoon Animator 4? You basically just click and drag it from your Explore window. Yeah, there's really, I mean, do you want to share that, Mark, or do you want? I'm
I
not sure if I
don't.
have any videos I can throw in here.
Let's. I'm gonna look for. I do. I have image sequences. Let me see if I have a short video. I'm gonna actually take one. I think I had one. Let me just.
I have a couple here, just some random.
Yeah, so something random.
Yeah, here, just let me share my screen real quick.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. Yeah, I was looking. All my videos are like 5 minutes
Yeah, I got a couple of just random
clips.
videos here, like this handsome dude working out. Okay, let's throw that one in. So all you got to do is you're in an Explore window. Hopefully, you guys can all see my screen.
Yeah.
Just click and drag it like this from Explore, and it'll pop up with a few options. The first option is prop. and this will import it in as a prop that you can resize and animate and do whatever you want with. This is the one I recommend normally using because it's just the most flexible. The scene will make it a scene that you can save as a scene, like a full scene. Generally, you're not going to do that for videos. It's not really much point. An image layer. So image layer and background, very important to know the difference between these. An image layer is basically, if you can imagine, the picture is just attached. Say you're filming with a camera. If it's an image layer, it'll be attached to the lens of the camera. So no matter how you move around,
it's always be there following you.
Yeah, it'll always be there. So if I import it as an image layer right now, you can see even if I move my camera around, it's stuck there in place, right? And if I change the opacity to like something like this, and I'll throw in, I don't know, let's throw in this Sammy the Snail, some random character, just to show you how if we move it around, it's not the video that's moving, it's Sammy that's moving in the background there. So the video will always be stuck onto the screen. And if you go to your scene manager, you can just click there and delete it. If I import it in as a background, like this, then it'll be always in the background. So then Sammy will be in the front, and that'll be always playing in the background. Let's just move my, so you can see here. The weirdest combination of things you'll ever see on the screen.
Yeah,
that dude working out. He's like, wow, look at the muscles on that guy. His eyes are popping. Anyways, so then, yeah, of course, if it's in the background, then it's in the background. So we'll just Control Z that. And then if it's a prop, we'll just click and drag it, and it's like prop. And then it'll just be something that you can move around like this in the stream. You can resize it, and so on and so forth. So generally prop will be, and then you can move it behind Sammy the Snail, in front of him, using the Z-axis, whatever you want. So if you were doing the rotoscoping sort of technique that we mentioned earlier, this is probably the way you'd want to do it, just because it's most flexible.
Oh, that's good for me, because I was like, oh my God, it could have been done easier. Okay, guys, so now you can do it better than how I did it.
Yeah, it's just that's been around since that technique has been around since the dinosaurs roamed the earth, and Cartoon Animator or Crazy Talk Animator 1. Hopefully that answers your question there, Cheryl. Let's move on to the next one here. We'll get through, I think we have about 8 more questions here, so we'll just go through that. We won't go too much longer. We'll cut it off at the next hour here. Question from Walter de Brito Cunha. I don't want to invent, but help. I'm not really quite clear on what you're asking there, Walter.
You're talking about a walking cycle and then changing the direction or stopping? I don't know.
It seems like changing the direction or stopping. Yeah, I think that might be what he's talking about. That's pretty simple, right? Did you want to demo that, or I can demo it if I'm.
Yeah, you can.
Sure. Let's just show you a quick walk cycle. I'll just throw in a character here. Let's just get all this stuff out of the way. It's too many windows. So if I right click on this character, a lot of these ones have embedded action menus. You can just right click on the character and select action menu, and then just go to like walk. Okay, so he'll walk forward like this. Now this is a root motion, so we actually need to change the transform position like this. So we'll just go like maybe to, what are we gonna do here? Oh, okay, so we'll go here. Oh, I'm gonna have to go here, and so maybe move him over here. Now, of course, there's gonna be foot sliding in this case. So what it's gonna look like right now is just this. He's just gonna do the moonwalk afterwards.
And then you're gonna switch. Oh, okay.
Yeah. So probably what you do right here as he's changing direction again is you would just use the flip function up here and flip the horizontal flip, and then he won't do the moonwalk. Oh, you have to. There we go. So there you go. That's how you would just change direction. Just use that horizontal flip. All right. hopefully that helps out. Obviously, you'd want to change the positions of these keyframes, but
Yeah, quick and stuff. Really nice. Yeah.
yeah, it's just that's how I do my animations, quick and dirty. Okay, a question from Zola. For facial mocap, I need a webcam, and what else? So you don't even need a webcam really if you use the iPhone gear profile. But yeah, generally for facial mocap, all you really need is a webcam. Exactly what most laptops have. For the basic facial mocap, that's all you need. There's also the facial mocap using iPhone 10, which in some cases is a bit more advanced. But generally, yeah, all you need is just the webcam. You need to get the 2D facial mocap suite, which if I go to here, probably just type that in Google, it'll probably pop up with Reallusions. Because I think we're the only one with that name. Yeah, so just go to this Motion Live 2D page, and you go up to, there's the options here for webcam, iPhone, hand and body capture. You just go to buy. And all you really need is just the facial mocap suite. And you can get it for cheap with Cartoon Animator. Pops up here. So just a bunch of options here for you. I know this might overwhelm some people. There's a lot of bundles that have different things in it, but you can always just email us and ask us as well. Go to our support and ask them for advice. How do I? Oh, someone seems to be typing an answer.
Oh yeah, the Revolution.
Was that you?
No,
or
someone on the Revolution team.
Okay, I'll just type A and send. So it's answered. I couldn't figure out a way to just cancel it. Okay, so another question from Walter here. We got in the last home stretch here. We should solve dynamic frame control inside the timeline. Is there a possibility for dynamic frame control inside the timeline? Not quite sure exactly what you're referring to there. But we do have improvements coming to the timeline all the time, probably in the next version. I think we're in 4.4 with Cartoon Animator. Is that right?
Mm-hmm.
4.5 is going to, new stuff coming out all the time. But maybe you want to specify a bit, Walter. I'm not really clear exactly on what you're asking there. But we'll go to the next one for now. What type of exercises do you do in the first 20 hours? This is from Taz. Mark, you want to recommend something for the first 20 hours?
Well, I do recommend it the first 20 hours. You can go through the exercises we provide in the 12 principles of animation class, right? In the course, I give you specific exercises and I provide the source files so you can just open the file and execute the instructions. And so in there, you spend your first 20 hours, you're gonna get the hang of it. Definitely.
How many hours in total is the course?
I believe it's like 3-4 hours, I think.
Mm-hmm.
The course, but practicing it, you take like, probably you complete the 20 hours.
Yeah, so it's like 3-4 hours of content and you have to practice yourself in your own time. Yeah, that makes sense. All right. Walter says, great teacher, pleasure to meet you here.
Great student, pleasure to meet you, Walter. Wow.
Okay, a question from Tony. This is an interesting one. Can you ask Mark how he would approach a rear window scrolling road animation for a car interior scene? For example, if the camera is placed in the windshield, looking at the driver and seeing the road behind the driver.
Yeah, interesting. So let me see if can you stop sharing the screen really quick?
Oh yeah, well I think you can just take over, can't you? I can just.
Let's see. I'm gonna share and then stop sharing mine.
Yeah, you should be able to. Yeah, it's on you. Yeah.
There. Okay. So you're talking about, we have kind of the car, right? And then we have the driver right here. I'm gonna have him a little bit stressed driving, right? So I believe this is what you mean. And then you mean this is what we see, and you're talking about the road and everything going that way? Is that
the background? Yeah.
in the background. So what I would do for that specific one, I would combine After Effects and Cartoon Animator. I would just do the animation of this character right here, maybe using motion capture, like, and do that really quick. And then in After, I would bring that into After Effects and then just put a road in 3D going that way, right? Because in After Effects, you can put things in Cartoon Animator 2. Also, I mean, in Cartoon Animator 4, you can also do that. But in After Effects, you can duplicate and even use expressions of things moving like that and then looping, right? There
Yeah.
are ways.
Yeah, exactly. And just to mention as well, you can take your Cartoon Animator for projects into After Effects to do that.
Mhm.
There's an After Effects plugin that allows you to import your entire project into After Effects with all the layers and stuff. So it's easy
Yes,
to do that as well.
you can find it here when you go to Cartoon Animator add-ons and then AA's the After Effects script, and that there's even tutorials in there and everything, and it's
Yeah.
free. If you have Cartoon Animator, it's free, and so this is really a really handy. I got excited when you guys got it out. I was like,
Yeah,
yes,
because finally you're open to the power of After Effects, which
yeah,
has been around for decades, right?
yeah.
Yeah. I remember doing those tutorials back in the day. After Effects is like my bread and butter. I love using that. Let's see here. I think that was the one. The question from Tony there, and you know how they used to do it back in the old days with the old movies. They just put
Yeah,
a video in the background,
yeah,
right? And you have the guy like, even though he's going straight, his hands would be like,
yeah.
on the wheel like this.
And
Yeah.
Sandra, answering your question, no, that is not compatible with motion. As far as I know, is for After Effects only. So yeah, sorry.
Oh, that's from the chat. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just After Effects. Yeah. Okay. Sovereign Odell. Do you think if in a future CTA you may have stock animations conform to custom characters like clothing / animations in iClone? Stock animations conform to custom characters. I mean, we already have animations that you can import in from iClone into Cartoon Animator 4 characters.
Mm.
This may be something a lot of you guys don't know. You can actually import 3D iClone
3D.
animations onto your G3 characters. It's really amazing that we're able to do that, and it's only going to get better because we already have this amazing iClone program. So we're actually trying to make it as compatible as possible with our 2D characters. And the reason for that is because we have a massive library of motions for iClone, like tens and tens of thousands of motions that you can just, we want to be able to, we want people to be able to apply those to their 2D characters as well. So that's a pipeline that we're really focused on. And I'm not sure if that was the gist of your question there, Sovereign, but hopefully.
Just probably you're also talking about clothing animation, like having physics that is actually part of follow through. And I
Yeah,
know
maybe.
they're working on that for Cartoon Animator 5. In Cartoon Animator 5, the
Yeah.
amazing news that gets my team super excited is that a lot of the 12 principles are going to be automated. So it's really exciting.
Yeah, it makes it easier. Yeah, that's generally what we try and do is just make lives easier for animators for sure. Okay. Question. Another congratulations from Volter. Mark, please tell Kai that you would like to have a smart gallery for CTA4. This is from Wolf. Maybe he will listen to a friend. Yeah, smart gallery for CTA4. Unfortunately, not in the immediate future, but we will certainly have it for the next version. I can guarantee you that 100%. Smart gallery, in case you're not aware, is just
I am not aware. I'm like,
yeah, it's
hey, let me tell you. Okay, Kai, Wolf told me to tell you the smart gallery.
it's
Have
like
no
a
idea what
gallery,
it is.
but it's smarter.
What is?
It's just like your content manager, your typical content manager, but it's just
Ah,
uh,
like the library in Adobe that you have your
yeah,
library. You
kind
can.
of like that. You can
Ah,
search stuff. You can install stuff by just double clicking it. You
wow.
can organize everything, and It's
Yeah.
a lot better than the current system.
Yeah, I think also like a Clip Studio also has something like that, right?
Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I think.
just allows you to install and uninstall. If you're transferring computers and stuff, like a lot of people are all the time, it's a lot easier just to keep your stuff on. It's in the cloud,
Mhm.
cloud. Question from Elijah here. Any tutorials on how to make custom characters that work well with the CTA default animations? So your custom characters, if they have a custom bone structure that you made by yourself, it won't work with the default animations. But what you can do is you can take our default characters with the rig, and then you can export them to Photoshop or whatever it is, and then you just modify the skin. Just make sure the rig has to be the same. You can make the character as fat or as taller or whatever as you want.
But the parts are the same.
Yeah, you just got to know the difference between the bones and the sprites. The sprites are basically just the appearance of your character. That's just like the image. The bone is what drives the sprites, what moves the sprites around. So I'll throw, in case in case you don't know, we have a learning center where all the tutorials are, and I'll throw that into the chat window really quick for you there. Everything's categorized according to whatever topic you want to learn about. In case you guys are not aware, I'll throw that in the chat window for you there. This is where all the video tutorials are. We have them in a nice collection there. So, okay. Vivek asks, can you make a Blender interface like that of After Effects? Hopefully in the future. I'm not sure if Blender is in the mix right now, but follow-up question, does the 3D to 2D animation interface bring in animated fingers as well? Yes, because we now have characters with bone hands. Previously, it was characters. I think the characters that you used were sprites only. Yeah. So we've recently launched bone hands for the new G3 characters. So yes, those 3D animations will be if your character has bone hands, it'll be applied to those characters. Okay, 3 more questions. Is there any way? Victor asks, is there any way to integrate tentacles into a G3 character? Yeah, absolutely. What you can do is you can create a custom bone. It'll be a prop, of course, to start, and you just attach that to your character. I don't have time to kind of go through that right now, but that's the procedure you would do. It just be like attaching a prop to your character, like attaching a gun to the hand or attaching a hat to the head. Same thing. You'd be just attach this bone to your character's, like Dr. Octopus. Maybe you'd attach it to his torso or something. But yeah, you're definitely able to do that, Victor. I would check. I think we have videos like that in the learning center that I just linked to.
And also for that, I would recommend the hand puppet template, the hand puppet tool, because you can move the tentacles if you get like leap motion or something to control motion with your hand. You can move the tentacles like this, and instead of going frame like bone by bone, you just naturally use your hand like this.
Absolutely, yeah. I did a bunch of tutorials on that. I think it was November or September of last year, something like that. Yeah, if you have that Leap Motion controller, it's an amazing piece of technology. It's like $100, and you can use it to do, you control a spider with your hand if you just.
Yeah, actually, what he's mentioning is right here in the link Kai posted tutorial. You just go down here to where it says to the hand motion, and instead of the hands of the spider, it can be the octopus or whatever you want to be controlling.
Yeah, that way you don't even need to use transition curves. You can just use the transition curves of your hands.
Exactly. It looks so natural because it's natural. It's organic because your hands are organic. So yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, that's the advantage of mocap for sure. Vivek asks another question: can you attach character rig using GIMP instead of Photoshop? Yeah, any photo editing software. It doesn't have to be Photoshop. It can be GIMP, or what's the other one that a lot of people use?
Just a quick note. I think you have to export it to PSD, right? That's the only condition.
Yeah, it has to be PSD for sure. Yeah,
it has to be. able to export. But yeah, GIMP, I'm pretty sure you can export. You just file, export to Photoshop document.
Yeah, I've used GIMP in the past. Yeah. So Jonathan asks, using the Explore window to import the reference MP4s, where can I find the Explore window? Explore window is just part of Windows. It's like where you find all your files and stuff. Shouldn't be too hard to find.
Yeah,
You can just
actually,
probably
it's harder to get into this call than to find the Explorer.
yeah
Explorer
exactly.
is the file manager where you find, okay, I'm gonna copy this to my USB or whatever. That's
Yeah.
the Explorer.
If you're using Windows 10 or something, just type in Explorer in the type here to search the search
Yeah.
thing on your toolbar there, and you should be able to find it. Someone's asking here, what's our favorite type of cheese? From an
Well,
anonymous
sadly,
attendee.
I cannot eat cheese. I have some
Ooh,
problems with it. I'm intolerant.
that's
So,
terrible.
but my favorite was the mozzarella cheese. Hopefully that answers the question.
Mozzarella.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh man.
Mozzarella.
Yeah. I don't know. I'd have to say I like a lot of different cheeses. Maybe I'll just cop out easy and say cheddar, dry cheddar. I like the harder cheeses. It's good for charcuterie boards and stuff like that. Yeah. Mozzarella is good too, though. Okay. The last quick question here from Mariah. What is the iPhone animator you referenced? I'll throw a quick link into the chat. I think I put that in the chat window already. The page for 2D motion mocap. If in case you're not haven't gotten that yet, though, let me just click here. So I'll just share my screen really quickly, and then we'll end off the webinar here. Okay, so this page right here, I already put it in the chat window earlier. This is our motion capture page. If you scroll down from the top, you can see here that we have, or I guess it's stuck to the top or stuck to this area. Face iPhone, there's face webcam and face iPhone right here. So face iPhone, this is just if you have an iPhone 10 or above, you can use this to, here's another couple of great examples of, facial motion capture. You can find all the information here anyways. That's what I was referring to, the live face. In case you're curious, in case you're an iPhone or iClone user, we are having a webinar as well at the end of this month that we'll be talking about the new AR kit from iPhone that we can use to animate 3D characters in iClone. So make sure you keep your eye out for that webinar. I think it'll be the very last day of March, since we're launching iClone 7.9 very soon. Okay, last question, Victor. Go ahead.
I can answer that. Okay, so will there be a way to have more control on your keyframes? Actually, that is a very interesting question. I think, just to be fair, I do believe that Cartoon Animator gives you a lot of control in the keyframes. Probably you're talking about in After Effects, that you can control the ease in, right? Instead of just a template, you can show how much of deceleration by using some vectors, right?
Yeah, kind of like we have a curve editor in iClone
Okay.
that allows you to really, you can further customize the ease in, ease out, or slow in, slow out, whatever. Yeah, that's going to be Cartoon Animator 5.
So yeah, that is actually one of the things we've been talking about. So definitely. And it's gonna be tomorrow. No, just kidding. I wish, but no, it's really hard in coding. Like I'm also developing a software for our website, and it's I go like, oh my god, I'm struggling with just one single button, and you guys with all the features in Cartoon Animator, I have no idea how you guys do it. It's impressive. So,
yeah, at least you can develop software. My software development is like hello world, and I'm like, oh, I'm done.
I mean, not me. It's the software developer. I'm just the guy with the vision. Like, oh yeah, I should.
Okay.
I'm the one who writes the letter to Santa.
Gotcha.
So yeah. Okay, Victor.
Cool. Yeah, I think we're about done there. So we've gone for a couple hours,
Hey.
and yeah, we beat the 2 hour landmark there. So I wanted to thank everyone again for attending, and thank you, graciously thank Mark here for coming with us from beautiful Mexico down south there. And we're always happy to have you on board, and get the word out on how to animate better, how to learn the basics, and utilize those in Cartoon Animator 4. So as always, again, guys, fill out that survey for the content store coupon, and we always want feedback for the future. And yeah, so I guess we'll bid everyone good evening, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are in the world,
Good
and
life.
hopefully have a
Good.
good life, live long and prosper. All right, guys. Thanks again, Mark, for being with us here today, and we'll see you guys. See everyone here in the next webinar. Thanks, guys.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye bye. Take care.
Thanks, Mark.